welcome to this week's edition of Wednesday Wisdom. My name is JB Hilliard, and these are weekly I'm sorry, I'm trying to jump right into it. These are weekly video segments designed to answer questions about estate planning or probate, court processes, or any other legal concerns you may have that I may be able to answer. And for this week, it's somewhat of a slight departure because I want to talk a little bit about politics, very little. I don't really like getting into politics. I've never liked politics, but I know we're in the middle of a politically charged year this year, especially leading up to the election in November. So I just wanted to talk about voting absentee. And it's amazing. Like I said, I never really liked politics. Being an attorney, you kind of get into it by default because everything we touches the legislative branch of our government, and so we have to get involved in some form or fashion. But never, ever, ever have I been as excited as I was last week to receive my absentee ballot package in the mail. It did take a couple weeks from the time I actually requested it. So for those of you who are still interested in voting by absentee ballot in your particular jurisdictions, just make sure, if you haven't already requested that, to get that request in either online or by calling or emailing, whatever your jurisdiction requires. Make sure, because you want to allow them time to get that ballot to you so you have time to fill it out and turn it back in time for the November elections. But this is just it was just exciting to get this in the mail. I've never felt that way about any election before, and so this is my soapbox. Um, what do you call it? Speech. Just to say, please, please, please vote. However you do it. I chose to vote absentee because I just don't want to go to the polls in person and stand in line and be potentially exposed to coronavirus or people who are positive for coronavirus. I'm not trying to put fear in your hearts or anything. That's just my personal preference. I've been working from home and pretty much staying sheltered in place as much as possible. And so I want to continue doing that for me, because if I go down, man down, it's a wrap. So I'm just trying to keep myself safe, and practicing all the precautions that I can, personally speaking. So that may not be for everybody. And again, I'm not trying to put fear in anybody's minds or hearts. I try not to live in fear. I'm just trying to use the little bit of common sense I have left in these brain cells of mine, and just being cautious. So that was my personal preference, to vote by absentee. I did it with the last election we had here in Georgia a couple months ago. So wanted to continue doing that. So the main thing, if you're interested in doing that or have that in mind, to make sure you request your ballot in enough time to get it in your hands. And then the only other thing I want to talk about today, because I'm getting very hot right now and my fan is not on and I'm burning up. But seriously, I just want to make sure you follow. They give you a page. What did I do with that page? A full page of instructions. And I know a lot of us do not like to read in front of us. If it's a contract or a legal, any kind of legal document or document in general, it doesn't have to be a legal document. But a lot of us do not like reading. Please, reading is still and always will be fundamental. You have to read through these instructions to make sure you're following them to the T, so that there is no excuse for whoever's on the other end of this process to not count your ballot. Please, please, please read and follow the instructions you're given. Whatever state you're in, whatever your jurisdiction is, they're going to have very specific instructions. Generally speaking, though, excuse me, they're going to tell you to use either a black or blue pen. Don't, some of us have favorite color pens. Like I have this purple pen I like to write with. Don't use purple, don't use red. And in these particular instructions on the ballot itself, It gives you some additional information here, at least on mine on the right there, not to use a felt tip pen. So again, you want to just make sure, excuse me, I told you all I'm hot, so now my body's falling apart. But you want to make sure you are following these instructions to a T. So before you even pick up the pen, read through everything. Don't use a pencil. Don't use a felt tip. Don't use red ink. Don't use purple ink. Don't use a highlighter. Black or blue ink pen. And then there are a few other instructions, but the main thing, at least for mine here in Georgia, is they give you an envelope to, once you finish the ballot piece and choosing all your candidates, you put this in here, seal it, and then you put this in here. Seal it and sign it. There is a place on the back for your signature. Do not forget, once you've gotten everything in there sealed up tight, do not forget to sign this thing. And for me, I like to drop mine off in the actual poll box outside of the main voter registration office here in my county, because it's not too far from my house. But if you mail yours back, you want to make sure you have enough postage on that thing. It may be a little slightly heavier than a normal piece of Class A mail, or whatever the 55-cent postage is now. But you just want to make sure you put the postage on there, you sign on the back of it, you have your return address up there in the return address space, and then you get that sent off in time for them to count it by the November election. So give yourself time, follow the instructions, do what it says to do, and then submit your vote. So your vote can be counted. That's it. I'm off my soapbox now. So with that said, I appreciate you watching and letting me get that off my chest. Now I'm going to go turn on my fan, cool off a little bit, have some popcorn for my midday snack, and we'll see you next time. Take care and stay safe out there.